When using the surface planer, wear your safety glasses at all times, take off all jewelry, do not wear loose clothing, and leave yourself a comfortable working space. Further general safety for the surface planer, before we operate the surface planer, we need to understand the components and how to set the machine up. Components are as follows. The depth wheel, which will set the depth, raise and lower both the INFEED and OUTFEED table simultaneously, is found on the lower left. The depth scale is found on the left side of the surfacer. This will show the thickness of the board that's being sent through the machine. The INFEED rollers can be found on the top and bottom of the surfacer. These will pinch and essentially pull the material into the machine. The OUTFEED rollers will be found on the back of the machine. One on the bottom, one on the top. The OUTFEED rollers, just like the INFEED rollers, will pinch the material. In this case, will pull the material through the rest of the operation and out of the machine. The surface planer has two tables, the INFEED table and the OUTFEED table. The INFEED table and the OUTFEED table are perfect alignment with each other. The width of the INFEED table is a maximum of 24 inches. The only operation this machine will complete is called the surface plane. Surface planing is defined as cutting a thin layer off the top face of the material to create a uniform thickness. Operation Procedure 1. Set the material on the depth scale to have the top of the material read 0. Currently, we cannot see the 0. There's a line that separates the middle of the 0. This line we want on the top face of our board. The depth gauge is connected to the table. When we raise or lower the wheel, this will in turn raise and lower the depth scale. Set your material on top of the depth scale and turn counterclockwise until you can just see the line in the middle of the 0. This will be the thickness between our INFEED rollers. And now our board will safely go through with the proper depth of cut and not cut off too much. Operation Procedure 2, we need to check for loose knots, foreign material, and other defects in the material. These knots are tight and can safely be run through the surface planer. Other defects may include things that are not of the nature of the material, such as metal, anything that might grow into a tree, ammunition from hunters, barbed wire from farmers, anything and everything you could think of that a tree could grow around, we need to check for so it doesn't damage the cutters. Operation Procedure 2 continued, we need to make sure that our material is longer than 1 foot, which it is. We have 26.5 inches. The reason for that, the rollers are approximately 1 foot apart. If the material doesn't have a chance to catch all 4 rollers at the same time, it will not be pulled through the machine. It will sit in the middle of the rollers. Continuing Operation Procedure 2, place the flatter cup side down on the INFEED table. The surfacer once again will cut the top of the material. This particular piece of material is an example of 2 rough faces. The cup side is currently facing down. The board is actually warped this way. And you can see that there's a contact point here and a contact point here. The middle has a slight opening to it, but having the cup side down will ensure the material going through the machine flat on these 2 points. The top INFEED roller, and in turn then the OUTFEED roller, will grab the very crown or camber of the material, the very tip. The material will start to be planed down here, and gradually through the process will widen out, and you will be able to flip the material over to plane the other side. Here's the same board upside down. This is what we don't want. We don't want the material to rock through the machine and give us an inconsistent thickness and not take the warp out. Some of the boards in this case have to be done because they are too wide to go through our jointer and unsafe to cut in half on the table saw down the middle. This is our board that we'll be running through as an example, and you can see the face that's flat is down on the table. If I were to flip this over, it still may be flat, but might have a little wiggle to it. We want to make sure that it's in its flattest state when we run it through the machine. For operation procedure 3, we're going to turn the machine on. When we feed the material into the machine, we want to stand off to the left or the right of the table. We do not want to stand in direct line of our feed just in case maybe a knot or something comes out of the machine. When you send the material through, you have the ability to send more than one piece of material through, side by side or back to back, as long as everything is the same thickness. The top button turns the cutters on. The middle button turns all rollers on. The big red button, or the BRB, turns everything off. For this operation, we want to make sure that the blast gate is open and our dust collector is on. Since we'll need to take more material off, after the first pass, you're going to turn the hand wheel half of a turn. So if the handle for your board started here, you'll be turning it clockwise until the handle stops here. Doing that will take another 1/16 off the top surface of the board.